see how he responds to this. He's been around. He's 9, he's probably not bad, okay? Make sure I get my remote ready though. Little tip on the place command when you're proofing it. 2 types of triggers that we're looking for. Trigger just meaning what's going to cause the dog to do the undesirable behavior of stepping off the bed. Presenting in the environment things the dog wants, such as toys, people, food, dogs, and then in the environment things that the dog wants to run away from. And both of those things resulting in the dog not leaving the bed. That's important in real life because there's going to be things that spook the dog and then they get off the command. That's not reliable, and we're going after the reliable. So things I want don't get me off the bed, and things I'm afraid of don't get me off the bed. Okay? So then you got a dog who's reliable. Look, he went fear, but then said I can't get off the bed and laid down, and then that guy's praised. Good boy. But he only did that because he's already tried stepping off the bed. Here's the important part. I let him step off the bed. In fact, I did more than let him step off the bed. I put just enough pressure on him to get him to step off the bed in a way that looked organic. I didn't tell him to get off the bed, I just used the vacuum. He steps off the bed, gets corrected, realizes, oh, even when I'm startled, I can't get off the bed. Check, I got that. So next time he gets startled, he's going to self-regulate, keep himself on the bed, okay? And he gets rewarded for that over and over again, then realizes this doesn't harm him. And we do this with a bunch of different scenarios if they come up during training, okay? Of what happens here all the time. That choice was corrected, so it's less valuable to him now. He thinks about it because he's 9 years old. He remembers, he has a memory of what just happened. That's important, right? I didn't tell him no and keep him from getting off, and he wouldn't have a memory. He would just be staying there because you told him not to. That falls apart quicker than this type of stuff. That decision didn't work out before. I think I'll lay here. I put a pin in it, but what I should have done is immediately said good and did this, right? I just wanted to pause it so you could see. That's the conversation we're having. He thinks about fleeing, he decides not to, then I praise and pet, okay? Which is gonna make that behavior more valuable to him and more likely for him to choose to just stay there. When he sees things he wants, because we're going over that, with toys and food and dogs and affection, setting up scenarios that's gonna make him wanna get off, people coming in the door and that kind of stuff, and then things that might startle him, like the vacuum, okay? That creates a more reliable dog. It's verbal, and then if you can't figure it out, then you stand, and then you point. Can't figure it out, then you stand up and point. Can't figure it out, and all right. So only give him what he needs. This is what we're gonna do, okay? So remember we said pressure creates diamonds? What's pressure? That's gonna be the uncomfortable stuff of him being nervous. I'm gonna be putting pressure on him. So turning on the vacuum is gonna equal him slightly nervous, possibly slightly rendered, startled. We're going to then give him a command in that state to teach him how to think in that state. That makes dogs like this who get panicky feel better because they learn how to think under pressure, okay? Sparkle. That's a good girl. So that's why we're doing this. So I turn on this vacuum, which I know is going to send him into this space. He's going to hear the word place, and he's going to get worked through it until he doesn't have a problem thinking through that type of pressure, okay? Of something scary being right here and him having to listen and try to do 2 + 2, which is normally easy for him, but it's not easy in the situations where there's stress or pressure, okay? So what's the purpose of this? to teach him how to think under pressure, because that's when you need it out there in the real world. When shit hits the fan, the dog's in that crazy space and they don't know how to listen. They can't enter a space where they can actually take directions. This is going to teach the dog to do that. This is just one way. The vacuum's just his trigger. If the vacuum's not the dog's trigger, we have to use something else, right? Dogs playing is a good one. Getting dogs playing and having it be a really good time. A dog who doesn't want to leave that scenario, that's a good way to get them to think under a different type of pressure, a social pressure where they want to be involved in the game, but you are asking them to recall and maybe go over to the place bet. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, okay? Here we go.
Wait. Good.
So you said place and you looked over at me and I said, and then you ran over to that smart little guy. Smart little guy, okay? This time, because he got that so easily, we're only gonna give him what he needs. So we're gonna say place. He's not gonna know, maybe he will. I'm gonna do a little stim, just barely what he feels, and see what if that stim's enough to get him to solve the problem without anything from us. Okay? All right.
Hi, Winnie Boo.
Same scenario, so it's easier for him. Just the verbal at first, and then I'll kick in with like a 5 on the ECOG, which he does feel, but barely.
Place.
Did he make a mistake? Yeah, but that doesn't matter. What matters is he had eye contact with me and solved it, worked it, looked at me, waited to see if he could get a cue. I pointed to the bed, he took it, he went over. All right, so we need those moments where they're having trouble thinking. They learn the skill to stop, look at the owner, take the direction, listen, and then they're proven that it works. The vacuum turns off, everything's okay. Okay? All right, good. Good. All right, it lands differently than go over there for a piece of food. Okay, this is more real life stuff. This is more rehab. Really, that's what we're giving this guy because he's 9. He's not on a rehab program, but he just needs a little bit of those types of conversations to get him to have the skills that I think he's missing, which is being able to think under pressure like that is one of them. Okay. Also, I'm not sure if he's ever submitted to a human before until coming here. That's another conversation that was missing in the younger years. Spike. Now let's see what we got in here. Oh yeah, that's way under there. Okay, let's release him. Actually, let me see what he does if I start this and do it again. So you've seen I upped the pressure. I made it a little more difficult. I put it right here. He went like this, panicked, but then he went directly looking at me, waiting to see, is that okay? I say good. You almost see the alleviation in the body. He goes from, and I say good, give him a pat on the head, you see him do this, okay? So it's trust. It's like, I know it's scary, but trust me, right? That's the tough love thing, right? Because that's going to develop him coping skills that aren't the ones that we don't want, which is running away or biting at things or barking at things. It's just to take direction and be able to do that with a clear head. Okay? Good job. Yeah, but dogs won't take direction from you if they're in a crazy space, and they definitely won't take direction from you if they don't respect you, right? So it's a little bit of that game. Good job, honey. All right. Wait. Good boy. Yeah, yes you did. What you do, you did.